Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. I recently done a top 10 worst moments in the Halloween franchise, so I thought it was only fitting to do a top 10 best moments in the Halloween franchise. Now, the Halloween franchise is one of the favourites of mine, so there are a lot of great moments in the franchise. Even in the bad movies, there's some really great moments in that. So I did really find it hard to just dwindle it down to 10. And I know that for you guys watching this, you're going to be thinking, why is this scene not in it? Why is this scene not in it? Or why is this moment not in it? It probably should have been, it probably could have been, but I had to bring it down to 10. And this is my 10 personal favourites. In at number 10 is the Rooftop Chase in Halloween 4 with Rachel and Jamie and Michael, of course. And the whole movie itself is very atmospheric. It's an atmospheric masterpiece if you consider all the other horror movies that came out in the late 80s. So it was hard to try and figure out which parts were the best for me. And I think what makes the rooftop scene the best is because it does involve a little girl. Now, I know that Michael Myers has chased people all around the franchise of all different shapes and sizes, but there's something about him chasing a little kid that makes it even more menacing. Yes, he wants to kill Rachel, but he also wants to kill Jamie as well, and that's the scary part about it. If you mix that in with the atmosphere, the mood, the music, the score, everything about that scene was absolutely frightening.
Michael?
And at number 9 is the beginning of Halloween from 1978 when the killer is revealed to be a 6-year-old child, Michael Myers. Now, I can't imagine what it would have felt like watching that movie for the first time back in the 70s and not even seeing trailers for the movie, just watching it blind thinking, I'm just going to watch the film called Halloween. And then you see this point of view of a killer killing his sister and then being revealed as a 6-year-old child. That would be haunting at the very least. But even today, that scene is still, it's quite impactful. If I watch it for the first time with somebody else who's not seen it before, then they have the same kind of feeling. They're like, whoa, that's chilling. So yes, it's not as chilling as it was when I first seen it, and it's probably not as chilling to those who know what's going to happen anyway, if they haven't seen the movie. But just think about it, guys. A 6-year-old child being revealed as a killer at the beginning of the film. Oh.
I'm leaving, right?
And at number 8 is Oscar's death in Halloween 2018. I think this one is going up and up every time I watch the movie because there's just something about this whole scene that is almost masterpiece, because you've got that build-up of Oscar seeing the neighbour in the garden. It's obviously Michael Myers. I just love the way the lighting goes on and off, the backyard lighting, and Michael gets closer and closer and eventually kills Oscar. But what makes this scene even more impactful is after he died, is obviously he died in a really brutal way. You see Alison coming to find out if Oscar's okay, seeing Oscar's dead, and then just kind of panning over slightly to Michael Myers. And that scene is chilling. And then what makes it even better or worse for Alison is that score that comes on, the shape hunts Alison, and her running away. I think what would make this scene even better and probably higher on the list, way higher on the list, is if we actually got a chase scene. The chase scene was cut short in this, but I think if we added a chase scene in, it would have been a lot better, but still, it's a great scene. And at number 7 is the moment Michael Myers goes up in flames at the end of Halloween 2. And I think it's mostly down to the fact that this was a practical stunt, a practical effect. There's no CGI, of course. And it's probably one of the most dangerous stunts that's ever happened on screen in our eyes. Now, this stunt lasted quite a while. It's not like a 1 or 2 second take and then it cuts. This stuntman was in this suit for quite a while, and it's probably one of the greatest stunts in cinematic history when you look at other stunts that happen today. So yeah, I think for this to be on the list, it's probably down to the fact that it took a lot of effort, a lot of skill, and it was very dangerous to do, but they managed to capture it on screen and it still looked effective as well thanks to the cinematography. So yeah, everything about this scene was absolutely fantastic, but dangerous. And at number 6 is the firefighter scene from Halloween Kills. Now, if you're going to have a movie called Halloween Kills, then you're going to have to make your promise that Michael Myers is going to kill people in this film. And he doesn't just kill people individually, he kills people as groups as well. And I think the firefighter scene is one of those. It's a really big boss level moment for Michael Myers. This shows his true power as a human being, not a supernatural being. As a human being, he goes to the limits of his powers and he takes everyone out. Now, if you want to be a firefighter, you have to have a bit of strength about you. You have to be very fit as well. But if Michael Myers can come down and take them all out the way he does, that's very impressive.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason.
And at number 5 is the Blackest Eyes speech from Dr. Loomis in Halloween 1. Now, you can't really have a Halloween film with Dr. Loomis without him giving us some sort of epic monologue speech. And this is probably the greatest speech in Halloween history. Now, this is a speech that everybody knows off by heart. And it is a speech that kind of rings true. I know that when he's talking, it's just a metaphor for how evil Michael Myers is. You don't take it literally like some people do. Some people think Michael should have black eyes because Dr. Loomis mentions that he's got the blackest eyes. So no, it's not literally. You don't take that quote literally, you take it metaphorically. And if you look at it and think about it metaphorically, it gives you chills, because at this moment Dr. Loomis is explaining to the sheriff that Michael Myers is true evil. He's not going to stop, and if we don't stop him, he's going to kill and kill again. So yeah, the scene is great. The atmosphere in the scene is great because it obviously is the original, and it just, at that moment, not only do you realise that Donald Pleasence is an amazing actor, but at that moment you realise, shit, people are in trouble here. And at number 4 is the moment Michael and Laurie come face to face for the first time in 20 years in Halloween H2O. Now, not only that scene, it's the build up to that scene where you've got Molly and John running from Michael, and they eventually get away from him into the little cage that leads them into the door into the building. And with that, I know that a lot of people don't like the score, but I loved the score in this scene. The score really matched the scene itself, and it was so intense. When Michael tried to open the gate and he was trying to slash them with his knife and he couldn't get to them, he noticed the keys on the ground. And when he noticed the keys on the ground and that music amped up, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then when he eventually got in, he came face to face with his sister for the first time in 20 years. That was an epic moment. That's a moment that we all waited for 20 years, or obviously since 1978 and not 1981 when Halloween 2 came out. But they've waited 20 years together to come face to face, and it was such a great scene. And I know that people hate to see Michael's eyes, but I want to see his eyes in this moment. It wouldn't have the same impact if we didn't see Michael's eyes, because his eyes really told a story as well. He's like, there you are, I finally found you. If you didn't see his eyes, you wouldn't really know what he's thinking. I don't need to see Michael with no eyes. I know who he is. At this moment in time, 20 years later, we know his name's Michael Myers. We know he's the brother of Laurie Strode. What else is there to hide? He's not mysterious anymore. Let's see his eyes. Let's see the impact it has when they both see each other. And we did, and it was fantastic. And at number 3 is the whole flashback moment in Halloween Kills. Now, I didn't think they would be able to pull it off the way they did when I first saw the movie. When I heard that there was going to be a flashback scene, I thought, okay, it's going to be a flashback, but it's still going to look and feel like modern day. But it didn't. Not only did it look and feel like back in the day, it actually looked like it was footage that they didn't show us from 1978 that they're now revealing to us in 2021 at the time. But I was blown away. And it wasn't just a 1 or 2 minute scene. They really dedicated themselves to really giving it a good 10-15 minute flashback montage. And every moment there was a flashback, it really took me back to when I first watched Halloween 1 when I was a kid, and just seeing it from different angles. I know they added maybe a little bit too much to it, but I didn't care at the time. When I was watching it, I was like, wow, this looks great. And not only did it look great, the atmosphere, the mood, everything was great. Michael looked immense. His mask looked amazing. And we even got that little bit of Dr. Loomis as well, where obviously it didn't really sound like him, but he did look like him, and it was all prosthetics, it was no CGI involved. So they really were dedicated to giving us the best flashback they could, and they certainly did that. In at number 2 is the head chopping scene in Halloween H2O. Now, when I first watched Halloween H2O, I was a entry-level Michael Myers fan. I loved Michael Myers. I wanted them to kill people, etc. That's the way I saw the Halloween movies at the time. So when I watched Halloween H2O, I'm like, oh yes, Laurie Strode's back. I can't wait till he kills Laurie Strode. It's going to be epic. It's going to be amazing. And then when it got to the end of the movie and she chopped his head off, I was like, oh my God, this is great. Now, even though I wanted Michael Myers to win and I wanted to see even more Halloween movies in the future, I still was very satisfied and surprised and shocked that what I saw actually happened on screen. Yes, of course, we had Halloween Resurrection, etc. That didn't exist at the time. At this moment in time, in 1998, I watched Michael Myers get his head chopped off, and it was absolutely glorious. Before I tell you my number 1, guys, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think your number 1 is. I still, to this day, anytime I watch the scene I'm about to tell you, it just gives me chills, but I'll let you know what my number 1 is now. And the number 1 is, of course, the moment Michael comes across to get Laurie over to the Doyle house. Now, every time I watch this scene, even today as a 39-year-old, I get chills every time I see it. And it's mainly down to everything. It's the fact that Laurie Strode is panicking. She's scared, she's screaming, she's shouting Tommy to open the door. She can't find her keys, she's looking across the road, and Michael's just in the distance where the audience, us, we can just see him and no more until he gets closer and closer. And when you see the wind blowing, the trees, the leaves blowing across Michael's face, everything about this scene was a masterpiece. Now, I know that Halloween is a masterpiece, and this is one of the reasons that Halloween is a masterpiece, because it gives us some of the most iconic and memorable moments in horror history. And this scene has to go down as, if not one of, but the best and most memorable moment in Halloween and horror history because of the stakes at play here, the atmosphere, the mood, the score. Oh, guys, there's not much I can really say to do this scene justice because it is such an epic moment. It's a scary moment as well. You know, the Halloween's not that scary, to be honest, but there are some scary moments, and this is probably the scariest moment for me personally. I know you guys might think differently, but for me, this is the scariest moment, not knowing if she's going to be able to get into that house or not. And I genuinely thought that she wasn't going to get into the house and she'd have to run away because Michael was getting so close. But that moment she got into the house and when Tommy let her in, I was still panicking when I first seen it because I thought, right, close the door. And I thought she wasn't going to get the door closed in time and he was going to bash right through. So it's a really epic, amazing build-up of a tense scene, and it has to be, for me, the greatest moment in the Halloween franchise. So what are your thoughts on that, guys? What do you think of my number 1? Do you have a top 10 greatest moments? If you have, leave them all down below if you want to. If you don't want to tell me them all, that's absolutely fine. Give me 1 or 2 moments that I've maybe missed out that you think should be on the top 10 list. I don't think you're wrong because there's a lot of moments. I think I actually windowed it down to 20. That's how great it was. But 10 of them had to go and 10 of them had to stay. But leave your list down below. Let me know what you think and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
To get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back!